This episode is brought to you by Michelob Ultra. Michelob Ultra is perfect for more than just the summer heat this year, because not only is it refreshing and crisp with only 95 calories, but Ultra is also the official beer sponsor of Team USA at the Olympic Games Paris 2024. Celebrate every point, race, and moment with Team USA and Michelob Ultra for the Olympic Games Paris 2024. Stock up on Michelob Ultra and cheer on Team USA. Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2024 Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
When you need mealtime inspiration, it's worth shopping Kroger, where you'll find over 30,000 mouth-watering choices that excite your inner foodie. And no matter what tasty choice you make, you'll enjoy our everyday low prices, plus extra ways to save, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week. You can also save up to $1 off per gallon at the pump with fuel points. More savings and more inspiring flavors make shopping Kroger worth it every time. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
Another day is here, and you're ready for it. What to wear? Check. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner? Check. Planning for what's next and how to save for it? That's where Bank of America can help. For your financial to-dos, Bank of America has experts ready to help get you closer to your goals. Get started at one of our local financial centers or 24/7 in our mobile banking app. Find a location near you at bankofamerica.com/talktous. What would you like the power to do? Mobile banking requires downloading the app and is only available for select devices. Message and data rates may apply. Bank of America NA, member FDIC.
Thanks for choosing this free Anfield Index podcast. If you'd prefer to listen to this or any of our other shows without adverts, then now's the time to check out Anfield Index Pro. With AI Pro, you can supercharge your entire listening experience. You'll not only get all of our podcasts without the ads, but you'll have them far faster with our Quick Publish feature available exclusively for subscribers. AI Pro also puts you in the heart of our sound studio, with an option to listen to many of our shows live and interact with the podcasters in real time as the shows are recording. Upgrading couldn't be easier. AI Pro is available on all popular podcast platforms. Just head on over to AnfieldIndexPro.com and get started today.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, wherever you're doing, and welcome to a Media Matters special for Anfield Index. No, you don't need to check your calendar or your clocks, ladies and gents. Yes, we did speak to him yesterday, but yes, a lot has happened today. So I'm sure you've all seen the news has broke by Liverpool being in talks for Martin Zubimendi. So to get the latest, to get the insight, you know where we turn. David, I'm guessing it's been quite a busy Tuesday for you. Well, Wednesday, so far, isn't it?
Yeah, so I was up early sort of writing this story up, getting ready for it to come, and I was just sort of making my last checks to get it over the line, and then obviously Joycey gets there first, as he always does. I love the guy, but I'm absolutely sick to death of him. And it's all out there now, so yeah, an interesting one, and obviously one that I think fans will be excited by, and also, you know, not just because of who it is, but positionally as well, so... big news today, and the transfer market, as Richard Hughes predicted, getting going in August. So great news all around, really.
No doubt, especially when he starts it himself, possibly at the same time as well. I mean, like you said, there's a lot coming out. Information is now free flowing, so I want to sort of get into certain elements of that. And I know you've done your Substack and YouTube, so I just wanted to pick a few parts on that. I suppose the biggest thing I wanted to ask you, because, I mean, God, we've talked about a six or some of the implications, which we'll get into. Players want to be excited about, or fans, I should say, want to be excited about who we signed. It's right to be excited about Zubimendi, isn't he, in terms of it was talked about a big name, the ability, his pedigree. It is right to be excited, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so, because I think it's a, top-class operator in European football that, I don't know whether you'd start throwing the word world-class around, but he's very much sort of got real potential to sort of reach those levels, because everything in his career thus far is hugely encouraging. I mean, he's 25 years of age, so really good age profile. You think of Mane, Salah, those types of players. He's sort of he signed for Liverpool on the cusp of sort of 24, 25, didn't he? And then became world class. So he's in that age bracket that really suits Liverpool. He's got a lot of experience behind him already. Nearly 200 appearances for Real Sociedad. He's won trophies, won the Copa del Rey. And obviously the Euros over the summer, Spain caps. He's won an Olympic silver medal. So, a lot of the boxes are ticked in terms of the quality of his CV there. And it's all about now, Liverpool want a player to come into Liverpool to make the next step. And I think he looks very much sort of that profile that's primed to do that. So I think a lot to get excited about there. But of course, we're not quite over the line yet. There's some hurdles to jump, but I think on the surface of it, a very, very exciting link. Yeah, no doubt about that.
Yeah, people who maybe aren't big La Liga followers probably came to prominence in that second half, didn't he? That Euro final where he came on for Rodri. A lot of people went, okay, this might be a player. And now all of a sudden, everyone's doing the digging, and it turns up things like aerial dominance for his size as well. His stats in that position, so there's a lot to like. I suppose the two bits I really wanted to ask a bit more about that I've seen on your Substack and YouTube, it's the fee element and it's the convincing the player, because I think those are the two most interesting things. I mean,
this episode is brought to you by our good friends at NFL Sunday Ticket on YouTube TV. I'm sure by now you've all gotten back into your Sunday routines, but they could be even better. With NFL Sunday Ticket and YouTube TV, you get the most live NFL games all in one place, every game, every Sunday. And you can even watch up to 4 different games at once with multi-view, one of my favorite inventions of this decade. It's exactly what you need to catch all the action. Make your Sundays more magical. And also, YouTube TV is great. I got it this year. It's awesome. Sign up now at youtube.com/BS. Device and content restrictions apply. Local and national games on YouTube TV. NFL Sunday Ticket for out-of-market games excludes digital-only games.
When you need mealtime inspiration, it's worth shopping Kroger, where you'll find over 30,000 mouth-watering choices that excite your inner foodie. And no matter what tasty choice you make, you'll enjoy our everyday low prices, plus extra ways to save, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week. You can also save up to $1 off per gallon at the pump with fuel points. More savings and more inspiring flavors make shopping Kroger worth it every time. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
There's a lot that could impress you about the all-new Honda Prologue EV. True, it's got class-leading passenger space and clean, thoughtful design and intuitive technology. But what really sets the Prologue apart from the competition is that it's more than an EV. It's a Honda. Honda, the power of dreams. Visit honda.com/prologue to learn more.
Ryan Reynolds here for, I guess, my 100th Mint commercial. No, don't. I mean, honestly, when I started this, I thought I only have to do like 4 of these. I mean, it's unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month. How are there still people paying 2 or 3 times that much? I'm sorry, I shouldn't be victim blaming here. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/save. Whenever you're ready.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes. See details.
There is that release clause, and it almost feels like echoes of the ghost of Jörg Schmadtke here. Are you suspecting that Liverpool, I suppose, they are going to try and negotiate that rather than just lump that on the book, so to speak?
Yeah, I've no doubts about that they'll want to do that. They'll want to get it down and get more favourable payment terms. But obviously, there's a couple of things to think about with that in terms of Real Sociedad will probably play hardball on that. Why would you ever accept anything less than the clause paid in full if you suspect that Liverpool would be able to do that? And let's be honest, he would. So, why would you ever accept anything different? I'm sure they'll fight for that. But also, you got to think that, you look at what they did with the Szoboszlai one, where they paid the release clause, but they actually just externally financed that anyway. So, that's the suspicion anyway. We'll probably see that confirmed on the books when it comes through. But that's an option for them to do that in terms of, how they go about paying that. But also, of course, if you are negotiating too hard for this with Real Sociedad and you're trying to bring them down on payment terms, you leave yourself exposed to another club coming in. A lot of talk of Manchester United wanting him, but, Barcelona in the past maybe. So you've just got to be very, very careful in terms of how long you let this drag out. Because one thing I can say is this is not, and I think everybody thinks, when a story comes out about transfers in Liverpool that that's been signed off, or they're absolutely happy for that to be out there. Definitely not the case with this one. I can tell you that from personal experience. So it wasn't one that they wanted out there, and I suspect for those reasons, very worried about being gazumped, about other clubs coming in. So that's one they've got to be really wary of when they're talking about this release clause and how they pay it. I suspect if it gets a little bit hairy, and they'll probably just pay it in full. Just to get it over the line and fend off any other suitors.
Yeah, because I know you mentioned it in the YouTube as well, that Arsenal have looked in the past, Barcelona's been linked with. So this is a good player that is going to have suitors. So there is now a real time element, which is the first nervous part to it. I know the second part that I know you've mentioned as well, we've got to convince the player now. You mentioned this, there's quite a few bits out there that he has actually turned down interest in the past. He's not always, it's not like it's the first time ever. As well as we mentioned echoes of Moises Caicedo, Jörg Schmadtke, is there that risk for you that, because you were thinking, oh God, we did that with Caicedo, we hadn't convinced the player, the release clause and all that. Is that a concern for you that they really need to move hard and fast on this?
Yeah, I'd say it's a live possibility because, again, I've had replies to tweets saying, well, we wouldn't have come out if it was far enough along and they weren't convinced that the player would come. But again, not a story. This wasn't at a point where Liverpool were like, okay, we can let this one out there. It absolutely isn't. So I would say there is a possibility that the player turns the move down and elects to stay because he's done it before, hasn't he? As you say, there was talk that he did that to Arsenal, talk that he's done it to Barcelona. I think the one thing that's maybe in Liverpool's favour is that, he is 25 now. He probably thinks, he's given enough of his really good years to his hometown club and that, if he is going to explore a move elsewhere, this is the best time to do it in terms of just coming into those peak years. Go and show your absolute best elsewhere. And I think also, in terms of the club that's in for him being Liverpool, I mean, obviously we think they're great. And we think it's an attractive move for him. But I do think it just is for a multitude of reasons. Obviously, Anfield is legendary. They've got an exciting coach in Slot who plays a type of football that will really suit him. That's why he's such a big target for them, because they need that profile in midfield. They need another real footballer in there, and he suits that down to the ground. So I'm sure that will be absolutely attractive to him. Obviously, it's the Premier League, so the wage bump, the money in the league in general, and the exposure it gets, it really is. If you want to challenge yourself, it's the best league in the world to come and do that. And also, if he idolises Xabi Alonso in any way, the Real Sociedad Academy product, and who plays in a very similar way or similar-ish way in central midfield, then I'm sure he'll think, well, there's some sort of mirror there to how that career went, and maybe he can follow that same route. So I think that's an interesting aspect as well. So a lot going for Liverpool in their favour in terms of convincing him. And I think if there was no chance whatsoever, I think this would have been, as I say, it's not been leaked by Liverpool, but I think it would have been shut down player side to the point that it wouldn't have even been a consideration, really, So I do think there's encouragement there for Liverpool, but obviously they've got to do the work now to get it over the line and fully convince the player, and the offer's got to be right. So yeah, a couple of those things up in the air, but let's hope he can get it over the line from here.
Yeah, excitement with a few nervous hurdles, so we'll have to keep our fingers crossed this does develop, and if it is, it sounds like it's going to have to move quite quickly, so we should know soon enough. I suppose the other things I wanted to ask you on, this is going to have a knock-on effect, no doubt, on the existing squad, which you've alluded to. I know you've mentioned this as well. Tyler Morton, that feels like, if this obviously comes to fruition, it's hard to see him stay at Anfield, isn't it, realistically?
Yeah, to be honest, on Tyler Morton, I'm very pessimistic about his prospects of staying anyway, to be honest, whether this signing was made or not, because I just think...
I don't need a VPN. I've got nothing to hide. Ha. This is what I used to tell myself before I hooked up with LibertyShield.com. Not only is my home internet now fully encrypted, but I can now access all the websites I want, whenever I want, and do so from absolutely anywhere. As a Liverpool fan, I love to know I can now watch every match, regardless of whether it's on UK TV or not. My Liberty Shield VPN makes sure nothing is blocked and guarantees me super fast streaming speed throughout that match. You can get connected right now with their software package, which includes a 48-hour no-obligation free trial and instant access to their apps for Apple, Android, Fire TV, PC, Mac, and Android TV. Or go a step further like I have and get one of their pre-configured VPN routers. These small but powerful devices allow you to easily connect every device in your home to VPN, making it the perfect solution for smart TVs, Mac boxes, and games consoles. Visit LibertyShield.com today and use coupon code AIVPN25 to get 25% off at checkout.
He's an age now where he needs to go and play football to reach his potential. I think there's an acceptance on Liverpool's side and his that is the case. So really don't think in any outcome really that Morton would stay. And I think a permanent move is sort of seen by everyone really as the best move for him. You know, not a reflection on him as a footballer, because everybody knows how good he is and he's got real potential, but he won't get the minutes at Liverpool he needs. So I think, regardless, that's almost separate to this. I think that he's very, very likely to leave in a permanent deal between now and the end of the summer.
Yeah, and I suppose that's a first chunk of change back, isn't it, for it? Suggesting 15 to 20 million that he'll fetch. And whether he wants to stay or fight or not, you would think that Endo's the other one who maybe just looks at this now. There's a solid move. Because sometimes you'll look at the class of the player you're against and think, okay, Zubimendi is a certain pedigree. You'd probably think things might start to happen, or the club will try and push things with it.
Yeah, but it's an interesting one, because it literally as recently as yesterday, I'm being told on the player's side, real determination to stay and fight for his place. Despite the fact, I asked the question on the basis that there's rumours that Liverpool are really moving in this position now, and still that determination was kind of there, and that was the message at the moment. Again, can that be softened when he sees the profile of player that's coming in? Whether more conversations with the manager will change things, or say a club comes in and it's really attractive, a high profile Bundesliga club, and thinks, well, that wouldn't be too bad actually, and maybe that will kind of change things. But as things stand, very much resolved to stay and fight. And I think fair play to him. He's had a contract. Liverpool have given him that contract. You should absolutely hold them to it for as long as you want to. That is how this whole thing works, really. And it's their error, so to speak, in giving it him if they don't think he's going to be good enough to contribute this season. So, and if he does, and he was great last season, by the way, we have to mention that he did a really good job for what he was brought in for, and several brilliant. Think about Manchester City at home, absolutely outstanding in that, but also just generally in being part of the squad that finished third and challenged for the title and won a trophy. So. He's not a terrible player by any means, and his belief that he can fight in, maybe there will be minutes enough for him if he does stick around. We'll probably find that out. But I think it does show how important Arne Slot sees this role and the profile it has to be. He clearly doesn't think Endo is a fit for that, which I think is interesting. But he clearly thinks he needs a bit more of a sort of pure footballer in there, and that's clearly what he's targeting. In Zubimendi, and it doesn't bode particularly well for Endo, but as I say, he wants to fight, and let's kind of see if he sticks to his guns over the next 2 or 3 weeks, particularly if that signing gets over the line. It's going to be an interesting one. Yeah, no doubt, especially like say if Endo does stay, does that have any other knock-on effects on the midfield? And I suppose I did want to ask that, because you're right, Slot obviously sees this as a specialist position. That's what we've been told consistently. So if Zubimendi is, a successful transfer, he's coming in to start. There's no doubt about that as the 6. So that naturally begs the question, who do you see alongside him? And obviously, it seems to be this 2 in the build-up, 1 almost like a 10, Harvey Elliott. That's why people have alluded to the 4-2-3-1. I suppose the one thing that the people are talking about, it's not a massive concern, but he's not, if you were to look at Zubimendi, for all the talent, he's not the quickest, and people will question the mobility. Do you think that would have an impact on Slot going, can I have Zubimendi next to McAllister, or do you just think the quality of football does it, or does it even I have to have Jones or Szoboszlai there for the mobility? How would you see that? But, well, it's an interesting one, really, because speaking to someone last night, actually, about Zubimendi, when I sort of first got onto the idea that there was a potential signing, and, spoke about that he profiles quite similarly to McAllister. So similar weaknesses there in terms of in transition when the opposition are breaking on you, not got great pace there, but obviously brilliant on the ball as well. And he's, by the sound of things, quite good aerially. And so he does have some defensive elements, but it's that up against pace in transition, not particularly fantastic. But I think we've had conversations about what the holder would look like that Liverpool would. Yeah, I get over it on the pods recently, and I remember saying in one of the recent ones that kind of my thinking had almost gone to, well, you can almost have someone who's a bit more of a passer and not the paciest, not a pure destroyer in there. If you've got 2 of them next to each other, because the reason McAllister looked so slow at times last season was because he was on his own in a lone pivot. He had huge spaces either side of him, and he just wasn't Fabinho. He couldn't cover that ground. He didn't have the long legs to do that. If you have two of them, then, the spaces they have to cover are much smaller. And you think, if you're right about in terms of, if you get it right in terms of being compact in his shape and when you're breaking the ball, you're in the right positions when the ball breaks to the opposition, you can cover off that lack of pace. I mean, I remember Rodri's first season quite a few times, him looking like he was running with a parachute on his back. And then as he adapted to the Premier League and got used to that, and he's obviously in a City system that is very, very good at getting tight, penning the opposition in, you never really see the fact that Rodri is quite slow, really. He really is as good as, he's an unbelievable footballer, but he's not the quickest. And so I always think that's interesting. So I don't think you need electric pace in there. I think you basically, if it's particularly this style of football that Slot wants to play, you've got two lads next to each other who, yes, are slow, but together can cover for each other and cover the space that are smaller. Then I think you can sort of mask those weaknesses a little bit. So I like the idea that he's kind of coming in as a second McAllister. I'm quite excited about that because I think McAllister in a double pivot really works. And if the other guy next to him has got similar qualities, and those qualities are very, very good, I'm quite excited and think that really could work for Liverpool.
Yeah, and he does seem very in a good way, aggressive, strong on the ball, definitely good in the area profiles well that way. So yeah, it could definitely work. I suppose the other thing, because we've talked about this on the pods as well, the briefings have always been that it's a bloated squad. Outgoings are going to have to happen first. I suppose with this, we have to kind of throw the script out the window just because Liverpool are going to have to move, aren't they? That this is now out. Other clubs are probably going to be thinking, hold on, Zubimendi could be on the market here. They might just have to move quick, like it or not.
Yeah, so I think that the outgoing, there's an acceptance that the likes of Morton, it will happen for them anyway. So those spaces will be opened up. I think the Endo is that spanner in the works. We spoke about this, about the fact that, look, I think it's really unusual and interesting, actually, that they're going to go down this route of kind of bombing someone out in a way that this didn't happen under Jurgen. It's so strange to kind of see this level of ruthlessness from Liverpool. That, I think that's very much a sort of legacy of Jurgen Klopp's time there, is he was unbelievably loyal to his players in the sense that he wouldn't bomb someone out even if he wanted to replace them. So clearly they kind of put him in Endo in that position. Now he might stay anyway, and the manager's saying to me, look, your minutes are going to be so limited, but he's going to sort of stay and fight. But he sends a clear message about what his future looks like at Liverpool, doesn't it? So, clearly they don't think they have to have the outgoings in terms of they have to have it sealed and moved on and sorted before they sign anyone. They are just kind of willing to bomb someone, keep him on the bench for 6 months and say, look, are you enjoying this? That's clearly the message we're getting, and that's really a slightly different approach than we've seen in the past, isn't it? But it's a really interesting one, and it speaks of kind of moving into a new era where that ruthlessness will be there that we've not seen, and maybe that will make Liverpool a bit more different in the way they act in the transfer market, and that's something we have to kind of get used to.
Yeah, indeed. We say it's a bloated squad. We're about to potentially add one more to it. So there's only so many positions in midfield, and I suppose the final question that people will be wanting me to ask you, because we know this is out there and this is all moving quickly. Naturally, the question is like, all right, you've given us info. When's this going to happen? Yes or no? Is it your full expectation that sort of within 48 hours, just because of the situation, Liverpool are going to have to move quickly on this? Simple as that.
Yeah, because I think the main considerations we spoke about is the fact that, the transfer fee and how that is paid, and also kind of the player's willingness to make the move. That's going to become really clear quite quickly. If he says, if he gets and I suspect that we've already got to the point where it's not a flat no, and he's exploring it. So I think Liverpool do have to move quickly, because I think they're going to alert rival clubs. This is now, whether they wanted it or not, this information is out there. So I don't think they're going to want to hang around and give other clubs the chance. And there isn't that negotiation over fee that has to happen as in the actual what the amount is. It's just about the payment terms. Again, don't think they're going to want to mess about in terms of sorting that out. So yeah, I do expect that this one will move quickly. And I'm not saying whether that'll move quickly towards a resolution where he signs, because as I say, it's a live possibility he doesn't. But I think we'll get a resolution either way fairly quickly. I'd say that much.
Fingers crossed on that. Liverpool love to start the summer transfer business with the release clause, it seems, in recent years, folks. Let's hope it does eventually get over the line. So all it leaves me to say, for joining on the hop at a very short notice, David, as ever, thanks for the time and the insight. Much appreciated.
No problem. Nice to have something to talk about finally.
Definitely. And ladies and gents, that was another Media Matters special for Anfield Index.
We hope you enjoyed listening to this Anfield Index show. Please be sure to subscribe to our channel so future podcasts find their way to your device automatically. There's nothing quite like fan engagement, and we'd love to know what you think of anything discussed on this show. The best way to get in touch is over on our free Discord community, where both podcasters and listeners debate the hottest LFC topics 24/7. Sign up free now at anfieldindex.com/Discord. You won't regret it. You can also follow us on Twitter at Anfield Index and find us on Facebook by searching for Anfield Index. Oh, and before you go, we'd love it if you could leave us a 5-star review on your favourite podcast app. It only takes a couple of seconds, and it means the world to the people who create these free shows.
Sports Social Podcast Network.